Good day, friends. I hope you're having a good day. Today, we're going to talk about the goblins start against other races. Goblins is known for their spam of their goblins, so their powerful tool is to spam goblins. But this doesn't work versus all the factions. Some factions in this game um, they are great counter for the goblins spam, such as um, Gondor archers, Lorien archers, and horses from the forces of light. First of all, we're gonna check what we are against. We are against Mordor, and Mordor forces of evil. It's always about the spam, so you should spam always between forces of evil. There will be lots of spam. We're going to also spam from 3 or maybe 4 goblin caves against the orc of Mordor. Okay. It's ideal to get 2 goblin caves after 3 tunnels. Goblins are also cheap unit, just like the orc. Orc costs 80 resources, and the goblin warrior costs 100 resources. So this way you can produce many goblins from only 3 resource buildings. I recommend also to number the barracks so you can keep spamming and watch the production from the building. For example, if you're watching a war somewhere, you can like a battle. You're watching a battle somewhere in the map, and you can. Okay, it looks like this battalion is almost dead. Was killed by maybe some creep on the map. So what we will do is now get the war chant. We see that the enemy started with orc warriors, and most likely is gonna spam the orc warriors. Okay, orc archers in this place. We will put all of the goblins inside our tunnels, and then we will use the war chant. This is gonna hurt the opponent at the start of the game. We players defend at the start, keep making goblins, defend, and keep making goblins. And now it shouldn't be like a obvious tunnel. Should put it on the corner. Okay. You should put the tunnel on the corner, not in an obvious place. We war chant, and we can also destroy the orc archers. We can destroy the orc archers and never stop producing units. Never stop producing units. You see the start? It's hurting the opponent so much with the goblin spam. We're destroying his buildings. The problem of the goblins is that they die very quickly. So, but they deal lots of damage. So, we need more and more goblins. More and more goblins and more spam. We will destroy the orc pits so he doesn't spam us anymore. It's easy to kill the Easterlings because they are pikemen. So we don't want to face the orc spam. Orc spam might hurt us. And we are still making tunnels near our opponent's base. This is very easy tactics. You can even support it with more if it is working. Keep making more of the goblin warrior. If it doesn't work and your opponent somehow gets a troll, then you need to switch to the half trolls, pikemen, to protect your goblin warriors, because the troll can deal lots of damage to the goblins warriors. Okay. And also one more point. Don't get the tainted land because it's gonna be easily countered by the enemy. So tainted land, and don't face their unit that is buffed. We're not gonna get the tainted land. We're going to get the bats of the goblins. The pressure we're doing is huge, and always tunnels near the enemy base, so we can teleport our units toward the enemy, delivering our finest goblins. bats and more spam. Bats and more spam. And we destroy the orc pit after the resource building. Against good players, you should also be aware that they might make farms in the middle of the map, so it is important to scout like this with one battalion the middle of the map or some places of the map. Okay, more delivery for the goblins. And now our opponent is... we outspammed our opponent. We don't really need any transition if we are winning at this point, but normally if we want to make sure if your opponent is somehow is holding, you need to do another transition into like a half troll, troll, cave trolls. Cave troll are also great. We're gonna get this. I recommend the monsters, half trolls, and cave trolls against Mordor. Against Mordor, we really need cave trolls. Trolls are against forces of light, forces of evil. I'm sorry. We need forces trolls versus trolls between monster forces of evil, and spider riders from the goblin against the forces of light, because you need to trample their archers. Troll cannot kill the archers. We're gonna talk about the forces of light after this. Forces of light if you are goblins, and what I suggest to do. So you can go for the cave troll. It's better to go for the cave troll against forces of evil, because the cave troll can destroy buildings, and he can kill the spam with the tree on the hand. He can kill the orc and even the orc archers if he is in a good position. What you can also do, destroy buildings and orc archers with the cave troll. Now we will go against the forces of light, like such as the elves or maybe men of the west. And I recommend in this start to use spiderlings start. You really need the spiders against the forces of light, because they start with Gondor soldiers or maybe Lorien warrior, and your goblins are not gonna be able to kill. Your goblin warrior are not gonna be able to kill the Rohan spearmen. Are not gonna be able to kill the Gondor soldiers. So goblin warriors can, spiderlings can destroy the Gondor soldiers. You need always two slaughterhouses, resource buildings, and the third resource building before producing the first spiderling. Spiderlings are not cheap, so you can't spam these buildings, the barracks, like the goblins. One spider pet is gonna be more than enough for the start. So we are gonna get some spiderlings, as the enemy don't know that we're going to get spiderlings. And we can creep even with the spiderlings some of the neutral buildings, such as Warglair. You can, with the spiderlings, kill the Warglair or maybe the Barrowite if you want. I suggest to get an fourth tunnel, and then one more spiderling. As I said, they are expensive. If your opponent is predicting your goblins, your spiderling start, you should stay on 3 tunnels and get the goblin cave. And get as fast as possible goblin cave. Okay, we're searching. There is a Barrowite. It's easy to destroy the Barrowite. We lure him out, and then we are going to bite him, and he's gonna most like... oh fuck! It did not die. Oof, he deals. It's very important to micro. If otherwise, you're gonna lose your. Looks like it. We have horses, Gondor Knights from the opponent, and yeah, spiderlings are also good versus Gondor Knights. If we started with goblins, these Gondor Knights would have killed all our or all our goblins and our tunnels. Goblins won't be able to do anything. So sooner or later we need goblin warriors. We get one cave only. We don't need really to spam goblins versus versus the forces of light. We will get half trolls after that. Half trolls, swordmen, and this Battle White is dead. Now we're gonna get also the fisher. So it's better to have a combination of units than having only a few kind of units. We don't need a big number of spiders, that's enough, 3 battalions. And now we're gonna harass, after creeping, we go and harass the enemy's base. After all, from this building is gonna be to destroy, to destroy the enemy's pikemen, because goblins warrior cannot do it. They are like scouts. Goblin tunnels are spiderlings are the best, so they destroy the annoy the enemy's farms. They destroy all the enemy's farms. We keep expanding, and this battalion is gonna scout what's happening in the map. Goblins are fast and they can scout. The enemy normally of the forces of light, like Men of the West, they oh wow, there are Battle Whites units destroying our goblins. Creep. Battle Whites creep destroying our goblins. Okay, always favoring the farms because they have low HPs. This archery range is gonna last longer. Okay. Okay, now he has these Rohan spearmen. We cannot kill them or waste our time. So we send them to a unit that can deal. We send them to a unit where we can kill that unit. For example, spiderlings are made to counter the Gondor Knights. So we send them to face the Gondor Knights. We don't even need the rally call from our side, the war chant I mean. And they have finished them. I would like also to mention that Tainted Land is very important against Forces of Light, like the Men of the West. They don't have any Tainted Land, and we can easily destroy or camp in that Tainted Land. Let's creep this Battle White. It's very easy to creep him. We get lots of money from that, and it's gonna be fast. Yeah, look at the damage they deal, and he's dead. Okay. Let's talk about heroes. I recommend against Forces of Light. Sheila is the best hero you can get because she can kill other horses. She's a spider, just like these little spiders, and she's perfect versus horses. And she costs only 2,500 resources on the version 9. Half trolls are using their charge attack, makes them deadly, and more half trolls. Actually, Sheilab is good against Forces of Light and Forces of Elves. I mean, Men of the West and Elves at the same time. And also Dwarves. Just all the factions who have horses, and the faction who has Men of Dale, elite archers, or Ithilian Rangers. Sheilab can step on them. Okay. So far, the spiderlings are not specialized to kill the archers normally, but you can do it. If they are protected with pikemen, you can forget about that. Tainted Land to buff our units, and let's use the tunnel system so we can teleport, and another fisher so we can spam faster units on the field. So we can spam faster units on the field. We don't really need another goblin cave. We need more half trolls. And I would like to get Azog. Azog is very, very important. He gives like scavenger, and when you kill the Forces of Light unit, you get lots of money from Azog Scavenger. So he's also good hero, strong hero, and he can kill Aragorn later on. You just need to level him up to level 4, and then you're gonna be good to go. That's it. I guess the enemy is destroyed. Let's just destroy more of barracks are always the priority after farms. We don't really want to. We don't really, and this one scavenger is the most important most important spell for the goblins between all of their um, spell book, because it makes you very, very rich. Spiderlings are probably dead. Your job is just half rolls against the pikemen and spiderlings against the farms. And we try to destroy the fortress. We don't have the tunnel system. We need a closer tunnel to the enemy base. And more half trolls. What do we have here? Archers. Archers are shooting at our Galadrim archers from the inn. Galadrim archers. Always the transition is better to get. So we're gonna buy now maybe giant or a cave troll. And never forget to expand farms and attack from multiple sides of the map. It's very, very important to attack from multiple sides of the map. These Galadrim archers are gonna be killed by Shelob. And we will deliver our army from this tunnel. Just you need all kind of units when the enemy combine his units. For example, fire drakes are also great versus horses from the enemy. And with Shelob, definitely. What men of the West units what men of the West do have also other than that? They have very strong horses. Like men of the West army is a big threat for the goblins. They have a huge army of Rohirrims with Eomer and Sudin King. This will make them very, very powerful. So what we're going to do against that is buy Fire Drakes and Shelob and the Dragon Lord to counter the horses of Forces of Light. And don't really focus on the goblins too much against the Men of the West or elves, because you need elite units versus the Forces of Light units. Goblins are not gonna be able to do much really. You need half trolls, fire drake from the fortress of the goblins, and that kind of stuff. Back to the start of the game, build order of the game. We need 2 farms as goblins, and 2 resource buildings against forces of evil. 2 goblin caves, 2 resource buildings, and then 1 goblin cave, 1 resource building, and then another goblin cave, and you can make also 3rd goblin cave from 3 resource buildings only. You can harass the forces of evil with goblin warriors, and you can also harass the dwarves if they don't go for axors. Axors are deadly against the goblins spam. You should be careful. If the enemy goes for the axis roars, you can scout that maybe with your builder if you want, but I don't recommend it. Still, people do that. You can scout with your builder or maybe bats. If he starts with the axe roars, this means he's gonna camp and defend himself. Don't go aggressive with your goblins spam. Just get half troll spikeman and the creep warglar or maybe troll lair, and then you can prepare a big army of goblins made of half trolls and maybe goblin archers and maybe spider riders. If you creep and get enough resources, then your spider riders are gonna be able to trample the axe throwers. Yeah, let's talk about the forces of elves and men because they are similar. You need to tunnel and spiderling. If the enemy is predicting what you're doing, like he's gonna get very early Rohan spearmen and Gondor soldiers, combine them and attack your farms. But what you can do against that um, to get goblin caves, goblin cave start, uh, and after the goblin cave, you can go for the spiderling, spider pit, and this way your goblin warrior are gonna fight the Rohan spearmen, and your spiderling are gonna fight the Gondor soldiers, and they can kill them because they are strong versus swordmen. Spiderlings are strong versus swordmen. Um, we we are talking about elves and men. They are similar. So your spider are gonna kill the Lorien warrior, and the goblin warriors are gonna fight the Mistlon sentries. Goblin archers, you can also get some goblin archers to fight the pikemen of the enemy and kill it faster. Okay. For the forces of evil, I recommend to spam many goblin caves and do a transition into cave troll to destroy buildings and orc spam. And after that, you can do whatever you want. Maybe spider riders, or maybe and keep in mind to get some lumber mill uh, each time, each 3 minutes to get one lumber mill, so you can improve your economy as goblins. Later on, goblins is a very strong faction, just like Mordor. So you can do really good with these factions, and try to switch to the half trolls even in late game. But keep in mind to get goblin spam against Mordor, because if you will have lots of money and you need to spend it somewhere. So spend it on monsters and better units later on. But at the start, goblin and cave trolls are gonna work perfect. That's it for the goblins faction. We covered everything. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you can get some tips from this video for today. Um, Enjoy this game, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.